I want to do something a little different today. I want to dedicate this video to my mom, and I want to tell you why. Haitian Mother's Day is celebrated on the last Sunday of May, and we have not celebrated yet. So today, this video is for her, but it is also for you because what I am about to share is something I've been holding back from this channel for a long time. My mom watches my videos. She follows along. She listens. And she came to me recently and said something that kind of shocked me. She said, Webley, you talk about everything on your channel, but I never hear you talk about the most important part of your journey, how God carried you through all of it. And she was right. I chose not to talk about it. So today I'm going to fix that. And I'm going to fix that for my mom. Mommy, this video is for you. And I'm going to say it in Creole. Mommy, video ça c'est pour. You have been my supporter from the very beginning. Even when I was a teenager making decisions that probably drove you crazy, you paid for piano lessons. I decided it was too hard and then I walked away. You never said a word. You paid for ballet lessons. I decided that was not for me either. You never complained. Not once. You never looked at me and then said, oh, all those things that I paid for that you abandoned, it was a waste of money. You just kept encouraging me. You kept believing in me. You kept showing up for me, even when I was figuring out myself in the most expensive ways possible. And here's what I want the world to know about my mom. She is one of the greatest assets that you can have in your life. A praying mother. I know she wishes that she had all the money in the world to fund my business, to be more supportive of everything that I'm building. But here's what I also know. Every single day, my mother gets on her knees and she prays for me. Every single day. And I want to tell you from where I stand today, looking back at everything that I have been through, that this is not a small thing. That is everything. My mom is my guardian angel. And I do not say that lightly. My mom asked me why I never talk about God on this channel. And I want to answer that honestly because it is a fair question. I talk about my immigrant journey. I talk about building my life in America. I talk about the 2 years at the beginning that I had to figure it out alone. I talk about the family that eventually came around, but I do not talk about what was holding me together during all of it. And the honest answer is that I chose not to, and not because I do not give God credit. I do. I do more than I will ever be able to articulate. But because I have seen what happens to fate when it becomes a strategy, and I want no part of that. So today, for my mom, I'm going to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth about the dark seasons, about the anger, about what I saw in people who called themselves godly, and about where I actually found the heart of Christ in the most unexpected places. There was a time in my life that was genuinely dark. I'm not going to give you every detail, but I want you to understand the weight of it. I was struggling, really struggling, and I did what you are supposed to do when you are struggling. I reached out, and I was part of a church at the time. So the first place I reached out was the church. I was surrounded by people who talked about God constantly. Every conversation started with God and ended with God. Every one of their posts on social media was wrapped in God. And when I reached out, what I found disappointed me in a way that took me years to recover from. I want to say something carefully here because I am not here to attack anyone's faith. That is not what this is. What I am sharing is my experience, my personal experience of reaching out in a genuine time of need to people who presented themselves as deeply devout Christians and finding very little there. Not from everyone, but from enough people that I started to understand something I had not understood before. There is a difference between performing faith and living faith. And the two do not always exist in the same person. I'm going to be honest. During that season, I had beef with God. I could not understand it. I could not understand how the most vocal people about their faith were sometimes the least available when people were actually in need. And that confusion, that disappointment, it shook me. It shook something in me that took a long time to settle. Let me tell you what I actually saw. 99% of the people in my life who would not say a single word without invoking God, who were at church every single Sunday, who fasted, who read the Bible, who wore their faith like a badge of honor. When I reached out in my time of need, I did not see that faith in action. Not from most of them. And then there was 1%, one friend, and one stranger, one person who showed up, who actually helped me and helped with my son. My friend took my son to a skiing trip, and she stepped up all the time without even being asked to. And in that 1%, I saw the heart of Jesus clearly. But here's the part that surprised me the most. The most Christ-like heart that I encountered during that entire season, it did not belong to someone who called herself a Christian. In fact, she would tell you herself that she only goes to church once a year. And if you were having a conversation with her, there would not be a sentence that did not have a curse word in it. From the outside, if you were judging the book by its cover, you would not look at that woman and see Christ. But I am telling you, that woman, she showed me the heart of Christ than almost anyone I had encountered. She helped people, really helped them. For some people, she even paid car notes. She paid rent. She showed up without being asked, and she gave without keeping score. She did not even talk about all those things that she was doing. She just did it. And that, it changed something in me. My mom has a saying. She speaks in riddles a lot, and I love that about her. She has this saying in Creole that when you translate it, it means something like this. An empty barrel makes more noise than a barrel that is full. I want to sit with that for a moment, because the first time she said it to me in the context of what I was experiencing, it landed in a way that I had never forgotten. The people making the most noise, claiming God the loudest, performing their faith in every platform, in every room, are sometimes the emptiest barrels. And the people who are full, truly full of love and service and genuine compassion, often make the least noise. They do not announce their goodness, they just leave it. I have seen this in the online space too, and I'm going to say plainly because I think it needs to be said. I have watched people use God as a marketing strategy, use also faith as branding, understanding that invoking God's name increases followers, builds trust, creates a seal of approval in the minds of certain audiences. And I want to say this clearly, not to judge, but to be honest. You cannot make a fool out of God. You are only fooling yourself, because the truth, it always comes out, always. In time, in action, in how you treat people, when the cameras are off, the truth will reveal itself. This is why I chose not to use God as a marketing strategy, not because I do not believe, but because I believe too much to reduce him to a branding exercise. And I have learned from my mom, from the woman who cursed in every sentence and showed up in every single way in my life, not my mom, the other lady, that real faith is not something that you announce. It is something that you live in the way that you treat people, in the way that you serve others, in whether you show up when it costs you something. There is a verse in the Bible that kept coming back to me during that dark season, that it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a wealthy man to enter into paradise. I used to think that verse was just about money, but I have come to understand this verse differently. I think it is also about the weight of what you carry, what you accumulate, not just in wealth, but in ego, in performance, in the careful construction of how you appear to others. The person who is full of performance, full of noise, full of carefully curated image of their own godliness has a very hard time moving through the eye of that needle because there is too much in the way. But the woman who just shows up, who does not announce herself, who pays the car note quietly, without being asked, she passes through that needle with ease because she's not carrying anything that does not belong to her. My mom kept me sane during that dark season. I would call her discouraged, hurt, confused by what I was experiencing. And she would say something to me that I carry with me to this day. She would say, Webley, the same God those people are praying is the same God that is looking after you. God does not belong to them. He is not just for the people who claim his name the loudest. He is for you too. And she was right. Because in that season, when the people who should have shown up did not, God put someone in my path who did. Every single time. And it was not who I expected, not who I would have chosen, but exactly who I needed. My mom also taught me through the way she lives that faith is not a performance. She does not talk about her faith the way that some people do. She does not perform it. She just lives it in the way that she supported me every single time. Even when I abandoned what she funded, in the way that she gets on her knees every single day and prays for me, in the way she called me when I was discouraged and reminded me that the God of those empty barrels was also my God. She also taught me through that Creole saying not to judge a book by its cover. And I have to say, this is one of the most practical and most profound things I carry with me. Because the people I expected the most from gave the least. And the people I would have never expected gave everything. So I try now to meet people without the cover story that I have written for them. To let people show me who they are through what they do, not through what they say about themselves. I want to explain why I have kept this part of my story off this channel. It's not because I am ashamed of my faith. It's not because I think faith does not belong in business. It is because I believe deeply that you cannot make a fool out of God. And the moment faith becomes a marketing strategy, the moment you invoke God's name because you know it increases trust, because you know it attracts followers, because you understand that it is good for business, you have crossed the line that I am not willing to cross. So my choice has always been to show rather than to say it. To try in the way I show up, in the way I treat other people, I serve people, in the way I handle my business, to live what I believe rather than announce it. And I do not always get that right. And I am not claiming to either. But that is the intention. To be the full barrel, not the noisy, empty one. And I want to say something directly to anyone who is going through what I went through, who has reached out to someone who claims God loudly and found nothing there, who has been hurt by the gap between what someone professed and what they delivered, who has looked at the people claiming God's name and thought, if that is what God looks like, I don't want any part of it. I want you to hear what my mom told me. The same God those people are praying to is the same God that is looking after you right now. He does not belong to the loudest voices. He does not belong to the most visible people. He does not live exclusively in the people who perform him the best. So keep your heart open, because the person God puts in your path to help you, to carry you through, to show up in the moment you need it most, may be the person you would least expect. The person who only goes to church once a year, the person who curses in every sentence, the person who would never say they are Christian, but also the person who shows the heart of Christ in every single thing they do. So do not miss them because you are looking for someone who looks the part. So this one is for my mom. Mommy, this one is for you. I did not forget. I have never forgotten. I just chose to show it differently than you might have expected. But today, for your Mother's Day, I want to say it out loud. God carried me through this, through every hard season, through every 2 years of building alone, through every moment I thought I was not going to make it, through every time the people I expected were not there, and through every unexpected person he put in my path who was there. And you, Mommy, every day on your knees, praying for me, that is not a small thing. That might be the biggest thing. You are my guardian angel. And I am grateful more than I will ever be able to say for a mother who never gave up on me. Not when I abandoned piano, not when I abandoned ballet, not when I stayed in America against your wishes, not when the path I was on looked nothing like the one you had imagined for me. But you stayed. You prayed. You believed. And here I am. Still building, still showing up, still figuring it out, and never, not for one single day, without the covering of your prayers. So, bonne fête des mères, moi remon en pile, Mommy. Happy Mother's Day. I love you a lot, Mom. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Webley. And if this video resonated with you, I want you to drop a comment below. Tell me about someone unexpected who showed up for you in a season where you needed it the most. I want to read every single one of your answers. And if you have a praying mother or someone in your life who shows up quietly, who makes no noise, but whose love shows up everywhere in your life, this video is for them too. And remember to hit subscribe, because I will be back tomorrow with another video.